Hey, welcome to Mobile, Alabama. That's where we landed after coming out of the ICW. We developed an engine oil leak and decided to stop in Mobile and have a mechanic check it out. We'd originally planned to go down to the Dry Tortugas first, and the marina in the Dog River was just outside of Mobile and it was close by, and so getting the engines checked out became priority. So, just because you achieve your dream of buying a boat doesn't mean it's always blue water, rainbows, and sunshine. But we decided while in Mobile, we were going to make the most of it. So we started off with the Bienville Lights food tour. We had never been on a food tour before, but our friends Ken and Dana had highly recommended checking these out on our adventures. And we absolutely loved the food tour. It was one of the best tours we did while we were there. We got to see all the way down Dauphine Street. It took about 7 hours. We also stopped at the Church of Immaculate Conception and several other downtown parks. Our tour guide was amazing. She told us a lot of the history of Mobile. Now, we had about 7 different places that we stopped at, and it took about 4 hours. The oysters looked delicious, but Jay and I were a hard pass on the oysters and the fried pickles because we just don't do oysters. But we had an amazing time. The barbecue was very delicious, but the beignets were our absolute favorite. They were light, fluffy, delicious, and that caramel sauce was amazing. So we also checked out some museums while we were there. The Gulf Coast Museum, the fort, and the Mobile History Museum. We saw lots of cool artifacts that day, and we even got to see a live musket demonstration, which was really cool and very loud. The illuminated texts at the Mobile Museum were absolutely amazing to see. I've always wanted to see them, and I'm so glad I got to. Next, we decided to go to Fort Pickens and the National Aviation Museum in Pensacola, where we got to see also the beautiful white sand beaches. Before we headed to Fort Pickens, though, we had to stop and fuel up for lunch, where we stopped at Peg Leg Pete's. I had the grouper bites, and Jay had a hamburger. It was a cool atmosphere, and we were really excited just to be out and off the boat for a while. So after lunch, we headed to Fort Pickens, paid the $25 entry fee for the car, and literally stepped back in time. So we walked all along the fort that day, and just the thought of the history and people that made that fort and actually lived there when it was a working fort is a little overwhelming and honestly a little humbling. It had to be a hard life with exposure to the elements and storms and hurricanes, the cold, and the architecture was so beautiful. The stairs were steep, but it was well worth the climb to see those cannons. And of course, we had to do the selfie. Of course, we had to stop for some selfies along the way and show you how big those cannons really were. We walked all along the walls, all through the arches, and it was just absolutely amazing. We highly recommend. So after Fort Pickens, we headed over to the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, which is home to the Blue Angels, and we went to the National Aviation Museum. Entrance to the museum is absolutely free, and there are so many different planes from so many different eras to see. It's truly amazing to see how far technology has come with these planes, from seaplanes to planes looking like they were made out of a tin from a barn to bombers. The evolution of aviation is truly evident at this museum, and our day was so full of history. It was jam-packed, and we had such an incredible time being able to go to Pensacola and see Fort Pickens and the National Aviation Museum. Now, one of the reasons we like to go on adventures is to meet new people, and we met Adair and Sandy, some locals in Mobile, who took us to our first Mardi Gras parade. Now, did you know that Mardi Gras actually originated in Mobile, Alabama? Yeah, we didn't either. We learned that on our food tour, and people in Mobile are very proud of their Mardi Gras parades. It was an awesome experience. They threw tons of stuff out, boxes of moon pies, boiled peanuts, hula hoops, stuffed animals, so many things, glow sticks. Now, Jay and I walked away with about 5 pounds of beads. And let me just tell you, those beads, they come flying at you like a rocket, and they sting when they hit you in the face. So you got to keep a lookout for everything that they throw. So the most important thing we learned at the Mobile Parade is don't look down. So our last stop in Mobile was Bellingrath Gardens. It was 65 acres of beautiful gardens, ponds, flowers, a greenhouse, and the Fowl River. Fowl, that is. There were so many things to see at this gardens. Like I said, it was 65 acres, and it cost us about $25 to get in a piece, but that included a tour of the original home of the Bellingraths and their original furnishings. And in those furnishings, there was so much china, so much silver, every fork you could ever imagine, every different kind of spoon. And the kitchen had some of the latest technology of the time, which included a dishwasher. So they were installing Chinese lanterns for a night display when we were there, and they were absolutely gorgeous in the daytime. I can't imagine what they look like at night. But Bellingrath Gardens was a great place to see. The history and the story of the Bellingrath was pretty remarkable, and somewhere where we would love to go again in later spring when the flowers are even more beautiful at that time, and even go to the Chinese lantern display. It was well worth the trip, and it was an awesome place to be right before we took off for our next adventure. So our tail crew also enjoyed being in Mobile. You can see Cheddar checking out the lines on the boat. He's mostly an inside kitty, but we do let him out on the deck every once in a while, although we have to watch him because he can be quite the escape artist. He and Oscar took lots of naps along with Andy, and Andy and Scout both enjoyed all the walkies we took all around the marina and around the neighborhood close by. Cheddar enjoyed helping me crochet at night, and Andy and Scout loved hanging out on the back deck. And they enjoyed meeting the mechanic who gave us a clean bill of health on our engine leak after he got it fixed. And Scout enjoyed hanging out with the coots every day while we were there. I think he now identifies as a coot because when I say coot, he walks to the back of the sugar scoop.
What are you doing? You want a bite? 1, 2, 3.
One thing about the Dog River in Mobile is that there were so many different birds. Cranes, pelicans, coots. They were absolutely amazing to watch, and I probably took several hundred pictures of all these birds. So that was a very interesting and unexpected pleasure. So while at the marina, we enjoyed the live music on Friday, Saturdays, and Sunday. Here's Carrie Lane, and we enjoyed the crawfish boil. It was our first one, and it was absolutely delicious. And we also experienced a variety of weather while there. I never thought I'd see snow on the boat or icicles, but yeah, we can check that one off our list now. So while we waited for a weather window after getting the oil leak fixed and our mechanic gave us a thumbs up, we finished up a few boat projects and scrubbed up and got ready for our next adventure. So stay tuned to see where we go next. So thanks for watching, and if you want to see more on some of our adventures, check out our short video list. We've got several videos out there on Fort Pickens, Bellingrath Gardens, and the National Aviation Museum, and more videos coming soon.